Hello, this is a video demonstration of Posturr version 1.5.9. So I'm going to start fresh. This is a fresh install. Let's begin. I'm going to open up Posturr. Immediately when you open Posturr, you are presented with the onboarding window, which asks you what device you want to use for posture detection. And so you have the option between camera or AirPods. I'm going to start off with camera and then I'll show AirPods later. So as soon as I click continue, it's going to ask for permissions for my camera. So I'm going to hit allow. And immediately once I do that, it's going to want us to begin calibrating for posture detection. So I'm going to look at the dots and tap space. And I've got a monitor to my left that I also am going to calibrate with. And there we go. I am now calibrated. So if I begin to slouch, it should begin to blur my screen. You'll notice on the top menu icon, as I slouch, it shows a slouching icon. I also want to demonstrate the AirPods functionality. So if I go ahead and click AirPods, it's going to request permission for motion and fitness activity because that is required for me to have the data to detect head tilt. So I'm going to click allow. And you'll notice on the top here it says paused, calibration needed. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit recalibrate. And it's detected now that I don't have my AirPods in, and it's also showing a calibration icon. So I've got my AirPods, I'm going to place them in. There we go. And I'm going to recalibrate with my AirPods in. And now we are set up. So if I begin to slouch, we should see that same blurring occurring. I'll also demonstrate the other warning types. So there's vignette, which will sort of close in red around the perimeter. There's border, which will just draw lines around the screen essentially. You can see that red border. And then we have solid, which will just start to fill the entire screen with the color chosen there on the right. Lastly, there's none. If that's selected, nothing happens. But we do track that you slouched in the analytics portion of the app, which I will show later. Dead zone is how strict it is about your slouchiness. So if I slide that all the way over, it's going to ding me for slouching a lot sooner than if I have it right here in medium. And it can also loosen it. So if you want to have more leeway, you can loosen it up. Intensity is how quickly it blurs. And so if I set that to gentle, even with a far slouch, it's not going to show much. Oh, I still have none selected. There we go. Let's do blur. So you'll notice that it starts to blur a lot more gently. And if I go to aggressive, it's going to be a lot quicker on the blur. I'll demonstrate dead zone again because I think I was on none before. So here's me kind of leaning my head down. It's pretty easy to trigger, and then I loosen that up, and I've got just a little bit more wiggle room before I get dinged. And the delay is pretty self-explanatory. If I slouch, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and then it'll begin to blur. So it gives you a little bit of time to look down, maybe if you need to type something, and then you can come back up and you won't get dinged. Detection is mostly about just balancing how responsive the detection is with battery life. So basically it detects less often in order to preserve battery. Launch on login is pretty self-explanatory. It'll open the app when you log in. Blur when away is a feature where it'll blur your screen when it doesn't detect that you are at the computer, which when you're in AirPod mode will not be enabled. And it tells you that in this info icon. I can show that after I walk through the rest of these. The shortcut is defaults to Control-Option P. So if I hit that on my keyboard, you'll notice the icon on the top pauses and we're disabled. I'll hit Control-Option P again. I can also change that. So let's say Control-Option O. Great. And then I can pause and unpause with O. I'm going to change that back. Show in dock. So right now on my dock there is no posture showing. Well, I guess there's this one. Okay, yeah, so it's disappeared now. If I click show in dock, then it shows in the dock. And then pause on the go. This is a special feature for folks using laptops. If they were to unplug their laptop from the monitor, it would actually pause the app. I'm not going to demonstrate on this video because I can't unplug my monitor. For the camera, blur went away. I'll show that real quick. So if we enable that, I think if I block the camera now, you'll notice it will slowly blur. And then if I let go, it comes back. Lastly, I want to show analytics. So this is posture analytics. It monitors how well your posture is improving. So it knows when you slouch. So I will slouch. I think I still have the delay set up. I should probably remove that while we do this. So there's a slouch, another slouch event. It's tracking those, and it's also counting up my slouch duration as I'm slouching and using that to calculate my score. All right, that's it for posture. Hopefully that's enough.